All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. My name is Tyler over here at a company called Cole Information, C-O-L-E, Cole Information. We've been around for 70 years, guys, 7 decades of helping small businesses, specifically in the investor flipper real estate space, helping grow your database and ways to reach out to prospects. And I'm excited today to to interview Jacob Blank. Jacob, we've known each other for a couple of years now.
Yep.
Your father and I have known each other probably for over a decade, actually, of leveraging our data as a way to go have conversations with people. So, essentially we're a database where we have access to everybody's mailing addresses, but then we have cell phone numbers, email addresses that are all tied to somebody's address that can be pulled by a neighborhood or a zip code, and 250 some different data attributes as well, like income levels and home values, all that fun stuff. But we can get into that later. What I really want to do, though, is just ask you some questions, Jacob, on what are you doing that you're having so much success. And I don't want to ask for all of your secret sauce, right? I know you got to keep a little of that, but what I love about you and your father is that you're all about sharing, right? Sharing your knowledge wealth and helping others. So that is my entire goal here, is to maybe just help some people on the webinar today, with some ideas on how to grow their business. So that being said, Jacob, tell me a little about you.
100%. I just want to help everyone out. There's plenty of room for everyone to do this business and succeed in it. So with Cole, I've had major success with Cole because, a lot of these gurus and people out there will tell you, call absentee owners, call probate, call death, call divorce, call pre-foreclosure, call lates, right? But if you're only hitting the niche data, not that Cole can't provide you with niche data as well, but if you're only hitting these niche lists, there's way more competition on all of these niche lists. So you're going to be running into a lot more competition. Every homeowner you speak to is going to have multiple calls from other companies, not just from you. So the way that Cole has helped me reach a new level in my business and succeed in my business and do more deals and avoid some of the competition was that I'm able to pull millions of records from Cole for my whole market. So that means I'm reaching out to a lot of people that the competition isn't calling, because I'm doing blanket marketing to my whole county, right? And one of my favorite lists from Cole is the high equity list, which is you can pull by years of residence. So I like to pull 15 years plus residence with Cole. And we're going to show you at the end of this how to pull that list. But I pull that list, and if I was to go to a different website, for example, like ListSource, and I was going to go pull a high equity list, it would cost me over $10,000 to pull that high equity list in my market. And that is without skip tracing. So then I'd have to go skip it, and it's going to cost me a bunch more money to do that as well. So to pull my whole market of high equity, it would cost me over $10,000. And with Cole, with the discount that I bring you guys, you are able to pull your whole market of high equity for $795 a year, and you get access to Cole, a year, unlimited data for $795, and you're able to pull that high equity list, okay? And it comes with phone numbers, so then you don't have to go pay more for skip tracing. So literally for $795, you can get a list that's worth over $10,000 in your market. It's a no-brainer, and that's how it's helped me not only save money, but also avoid competition and get more deals in my business.
100%. I love it, Jacob. Gosh, we need to have you interview for a commercial. I love it. I mean, you put that all so eloquently, because we've been around forever, right? And so for some of the guys on the call, you might have known us for these big blue crisscross directories that we've printed in the past. I'm going to pull up that screen and just show you what these kind of look like. So before technology, before the internet, right, we printed what we called a crisscross directory. So think of the phone book, right? A phone book had everybody in it. These directories were everybody by street name, because a phone book had everybody by last name. That doesn't do you any good. But we had these directories by street name. So you could go find in the market, let's say Phoenix, and then find everybody on Patterson Street and look them up in the book and find 505 Patterson, 506 Patterson, 507 Patterson, who lives there, their phone number, how long they lived there, what they bought their house for, their credit range, things like that. So any small business, including people in the real estate space, would use it to reach out to neighbors, right? To leverage, hey, something happened on the street. Let's contact everybody on the street and let them know about our services. And it wasn't just people in real estate, right? I've been here for 17 years now. And I remember when I first started, we were on an episode of Law and Order, the TV series Law and Order, because they had somebody, a law detective, go grab the Cole crisscross directory, call everybody in the apartment complex and see if they saw the break-in that happened, right? But our legacy has always been unlimited. All you can eat. You don't pay by the record. You don't get capped on the number of downloads. It is, hey, here's the database. Go in there and use it as much as you want to. So obviously before technology, it was in the book format. Now it's online where you get your own portal, your own username and password. You get statewide access and you just go in and pull the lists as you need them, like you said. But we don't charge by the record, the download, or anything.
And the only limitation is you're only able to pull out 1,500 records per list. So you just have to pull it out page 1 through 15, page 15 through 30, right?
Yep.
And do it like that. And so it does take a little bit of time, but that's why you're saving thousands of dollars. It takes you a little bit of time to pull the whole market out, but that's where the savings come.
Oh, 100%. And let's say you wanted to download all of the people, we'll show you in a bit, everybody in a zip code owns their home, been there for 15 years or whatever, and there's 3,500 records. Guys, you can download that list into an Excel spreadsheet in less than 45 seconds following our steps, right? It's super easy. We just have a speed bump. Otherwise, people will try to download 18 million records all at once, and then it kills our servers. That's the only reason we have that there as well.
And I've pulled a whole market before when I just sat down, pulled a whole market at once. It took me under 3 hours to pull a whole market.
Yeah, right. And you probably got a couple 100,000 records or more. Millions.
Records.
Okay,
yeah.
There you go. There we go. So tell me, what's the message that you do? I mean, we'll talk about everybody. I don't want to get into the, okay, Cole, these are the 18 different ways you can search. I mean, at the very end, we'll talk about that. But what's your message?
When I talk to these prospects?
Yeah, so Jake, I know in the real estate world, there's lots of different types of you have your traditional real estate agent, you have your flipper, your investor, all that. So I go into the traditional real estate space, and a lot of real estate agents want to call expired listings, right? So if I had, everybody knows an expired listing is, I'm assuming, but if I use you as my realtor, it didn't sell, our contract together expires after 90 days, you're free game. Well, in the real estate space, the same thing. These homeowners are getting called by 95 agents every morning, right? And so you just get burned out, the time to do that. And so the same thing in the real estate, a traditional realtor, they're saying, okay, I'm just going to call everybody in a neighborhood instead and introduce myself to people. But I want to hear your messaging on that.
Yeah, it's all about your intro, because there's a lot of other people calling, right? So, if they hear, if you don't catch them on the intro, they're just going to hang up and be like, this is the same thing once again. I got 3 of these earlier today. The intro is so important. So you want to use 3 different tonalities in your intro. At the beginning, high enthusiasm. In the middle, monotone professionalism. And at the end, a question tone. That way you're overwhelming their brain with 3 different tonalities. And now everybody that you speak to wants to know who you are, why you're calling, and why they should listen in under 10 seconds. So you got to tell them who you are, why you're calling, and why they should listen. And then finally, on the end of your intro, you want to ask for a second, because in the brain, your brain runs patterns and it automatically cues yes to a second, because a second is a short amount of time. So you want to ask for a second in a question tone. So it would be, hey, this is Jacob from Make Sense Offers. I'm just calling to see if you'd consider a cash offer for your property. Do you have a second? So that's what we do as far as a cold open. And then once we get actual leads, we say, hey, this is Jacob from Make Sense Offers. You spoke to one of my associates about an offer for your property. I'm calling to give you the offer. Do you have a second? So I told them who I am. I told them why I'm calling. They spoke to one of my associates before, and I'm telling them why they should listen. I'm going to give you the offer, and then I'm hitting them with the question tone, asking for a second. Their brain cues, yes, I'm into the call. Now what I call it is, when you have them, you have them. When you get into that intro, you're good. You've got them. They're going to listen for a few minutes. So that's what I do.
Love it. Love it. And then, what's your process? Obviously, people don't answer the first time. right? So, I mean, that's just the numbers game. The more people you call, the more people will answer. So you going through your list once and getting all the answers. So first off, the people that don't answer, are you leaving them a voicemail, or are you just trying to call them back again later?
So we don't leave voicemails because we're calling so many people. But we just keep calling the list. We keep
Yep.
flipping it, and then when we like deplete our market, we'll go into another market, or we'll just pull the list out of the dialer, put it back in,
Right.
and put it back in with all the people that said they weren't interested. So that way we call everyone again, except DNCs and leads that we already got.
Right. No, excellent, excellent. So, I mean, I guess we didn't prep for this, so I am just asking you questions, Jacob. So, do you know offhand, like over the last year, over the last 5 years, 10 years, I don't know, of how many deals you think you've gotten
Yeah,
using?
last year we did about 70 deals. And I'd say at least 55 out of those 70 were from Cole.
All
So
right.
as you can see, the majority of my deals are coming from Cole Realty Resource. It's pretty much the only data that I use. Do I hit all those smaller niches? Yes. Are you able to get some of those niches from Cole? Yes. But I hit my whole market, high equity with Cole data. And then I also call a lot of the niches, pre-foreclosure, lates, death, divorce as
Right.
well. But the majority of my deals are coming from this high equity list from Cole Realty Resource because there's less competition. So
Right.
55 out of 70 deals last year came from Cole.
Excellent. Excellent. So, do you have, I mean, again, tell me not to ask these questions, or do you have a rough estimate? Like, what is that money wise? How much does that
Yeah.
mean to you guys? I don't, and I mean,
So our average deal size through the majority of last year was around 25,000, I believe. This year we're around 22,000 average
right.
deal size. And then towards the end of last year, it went down to $13,000 a deal, but our cost per deal is like under $3,000. So
Right.
very profitable.
Yeah. Again, you can do the rough math on that, and that adds up to a very big number, and that's just over 1 year, right? And like I said, when we first talked with each other, I don't know, a year, 2 years ago, all the years fly by with me, but I recognized Blank as the last name, and I was like, David, and you're like, oh yeah, that's my father. And I think David and I started working together a decade ago at
Yeah.
Kohl's.
So my dad, back in around like 2011, I believe, he had built servers. He had an IT guy, a full-time IT guy, and built servers. And he was like computer servers, and he was doing surveys to homeowners to see if they wanted to list their house because you're legally allowed to send out surveys.
Mhm.
So he needed the whole country of data.
Yep.
He wanted to do the whole country. So he reached out to Tyler, and they
Yep.
came up with a deal for him, a certain price for him to be able to have access to the whole country. And
Yep.
so that's how I know Tyler, I know Cole, and that's how
Yep.
I know their data is good because we've been using them in the family for over 10 years.
Yep. 100%. And even at that time, we only had landlines, right? But 10 years ago is different because most people had home phones back then.
Yeah.
And over the last decade, we've had to reinvent ourselves multiple times because all of a sudden, boom, people just dropped having landlines. And so we found different third-party sources to get data. So, probably about 7 years ago, we launched our cell phones. And so right now, today, if you just look at across the board, we have a cell phone for about half of all households. Sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 cell phones, but about half the time we have at least one cell phone. And then probably about 3, 4 years ago, we got emails as well. So now we have an email for about half of all households as well. So you start overlaying the data of people who have a landline, people and a VoIP, through your cable company, and then you add on cell phones, add on an email. We have lots of different ways that folks can contact, the end users, right? So obviously you're just using the phones, but here in a bit, I might talk about some ideas of how to leverage our, emails and things like that as well.
I'd like to know that as well because I've been thinking about doing some email marketing to sellers as well. And I know that I can get all the emails I need from Cole as well to start doing that. So,
Yep, 100%, 100%. So I'd like, if you think the timing's right, to maybe just jump in and show folks. I think step one, maybe you're going to share your screen, Jacob, to kind of show how to kind of pull some zip codes. And then
yeah,
I'm
I
going to take.
wanted to ask you too, Tyler, if I black out the phone numbers and emails, would I be able to show my list that I pull or no? Or do you want to use the dummy?
Let me just use the dummy just to be careful. The only reason guys, again, we're going live and this will probably go on YouTube because we have people's private information. I got to use some kind of dummy accounts to pull you. It's the real data. It just has X's in it essentially. So
I'm going to use a demo account to show you, but I'm going to show you the first step that I do, and then he's going to show you the exact steps I take to pull my favorite list, the 15 years plus residents from.
Yep, perfect.
So first off, you're going to want to go to this website called bestplaces.net, and then you're going to want to go to your state and then click zip codes, and this will give you the best zip codes in your state. So you're going to want to pull up each zip code one by one before you pull the list, and pull it up in Google Maps, and you're going to get an outline of the zip code, and you're going to want to zoom in. If we zoom in over here, we have a good amount of houses, but not a crazy amount. But then if we go over here, we can see that we have these traditional neighborhoods, single family residents, a bunch of them. So we know this is a good zip code. But for example, if I was to pull up a zip code and I zoom in here, I don't have any houses. So why would I want to pull that data? Or it's in the middle of nowhere and there's like 3 houses, So that's why you want to be looking at your zip codes on the map before you pull them. So that way you can get, high quality areas in your list. So then you figure out your zip code one by one, then you'd go over to Cole and pull it. And I can actually show you, without showing you the list, what requirements I pull. So you're going to want to log into your Cole account that you'll create, and you'll click Prospect IQ. Then you'll plug in the zip code. You're going to want to click Confirmed Homeowner. And then you're going to want to go over here to length of residence and put 15 years. That will give you people that have a lot of equity in their property and that will be able to make a profit on their house. So you'll be able to profit, right, if they sell to you at a reasonable price. And if they sell at a reasonable price, they're also going to be walking away with profit. So you're really going to find those true win-win situations with high equity homeowners. So I like to pull length of residence 15 years plus. Now, if you want to avoid condos and land, what you can do is you can go over here to square foot and put land and then put minimum, and then put minimum of 2,000 square feet plus. Now this is going to avoid those condos. And then you could put living to avoid land. So you could do like 500 square feet plus. So that way you're only getting houses, right? Not just vacant land. But I like land, so I just completely ignore this, and I like condos. And then I go down here and I do phones only, and then I click search. But now I'll stop sharing my screen and you can jump on and show them what type of stuff you get out of it.
Yep, 100%. So all what Jacob is showing is exactly, it's going to be unlimited, right? All you can eat, go in there, download as many lists as you want to throughout the year. So you get your own login credentials. I'm going to log in here and show you guys real quickly. I'm going to log in again underneath my account. You'll get statewide access that you are in. If you are in a bordering state, so think if you're in Kansas City, a lot of times we'll just upload Missouri and Kansas for you. But we want to talk to one of our inside sales reps about that. Lots of training documentation, so we make sure you're trained in all these things. But just like Jacob said, you'd go in here and say, hey, I want everybody in this zip code. So I'm going to use 68199 who owns their home, been there for at least 15 years. And there's all these other data attributes as well, like income levels, home values. If you want to go after your target, listing, target campaign, types of vehicles that people drive. Maybe you want, higher income people. Maybe you drive a certain vehicle. Maybe you're a big golfer or a hunter and you just want to find people that are like-minded, right? Language, race, all these different filters.
I'm going to leave net worth. You can check the box for absentee owners.
Yep. So all these different things, right? Now, I don't like to use most of them because if you get too specific, like stamp collectors, how many people actually collect stamps in your zip code? But it is a way to get what I call micro marketing down to the specifics if you wanted to. And then, if you're doing a calling campaign, you could just say, I want everybody who has at least one phone number tied to their household, right? So it's all real time, and it's going to go in here and search for us and find everybody who meets that criteria. So at our fingertips now, we have 1,000 records just like that, bam, that we could download, right? And you can see here we get a combination of names, addresses, home phones, cell phones.
And you'll see that some of them have the same last name because it's pulling anybody that's related to that property. So you'll get all the family members that are related to the property with their phone numbers.
Correct. And it should be people that are getting mail at the property. So it could be somebody who might not be living there anymore, but they're getting mail and they're still tied to that property as well. And then, yeah, you just download this list, put it right into Excel, and you're off and going, right? And you can just do that over and over and over again.
And you see, we have these home phones, we have these cell phones.
Yep.
Right.
And then even before, you know, to download, before you download it, you might want to know more information about it. You could add the age of each person, right? We could add maybe their income level or things like that, you know, but I'm just going to add the age. And the reason you might want that is because then you might tailor your approach a little bit differently. So somebody who's 45, you might talk to a little bit differently than versus somebody who's 85, right? Just to kind of tailor your conversation accordingly.
Also, one more thing that's important, you want to click that box that says all common fields connected. So that way the address is all put together. So it's not separated by city zip. So that way it's easy to just put it right into your dialer and just end.
100%. Any dialer, any CRM, any of that, once you download it to Excel, common fields combined, you can easily import it into any other system you're using. And if you're just getting started and you don't have a dialer, right? I mean, I know a lot of clients, they just download it to Excel and they pick up the phone and start calling, you know, because if you're trying to keep costs low at the very beginning, you know, you can lock yourself in a room and for 3 hours, you can make hundreds of phone calls, right? Just on your phone. And then when you have that down, then you can invest into a dialer and CRMs and other technology as well.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you guys need to switch it back to CSV, you just open it in Google and then download as a CSV. So very simple.
100%. So yeah, that is to do any sort of zip code. The one thing I wanted to maybe talk to a little bit about would be, let's say you have your one to go into a specific neighborhood. And I don't know what you do, Jacob. And so what you're doing is obviously working. So I would tell you not to change a thing, right? However, you know, being here for 17 years, I've talked to tons of small businesses. I've talked to tons of investors and flippers. And one of the things that they'll tell me is a lot of times you might know of a neighborhood that has a really high turnover. You might know of a neighborhood that has more foreclosures than normal, right? Yeah. Maybe you have some referrals, somebody that you did a deal with.
You got a deal in that neighborhood. You're looking around the property when you're driving to get pictures of the deal and you see, wow, there's a lot of rundown houses in this neighborhood. So now you want to go home after you locked up the property, you got pictures of it, and you're like, shoot, I should really hit this neighborhood hard with marketing.
100%.
Great way to do it.
So to do that, then you're going to do this neighborhood search. And this is where you can go in and it will ask you for at least a starting point address within that neighborhood. If you don't know an address, then just put in a street name. Okay, I'm going to go after Nelson and find a starting point address that way. And for this list, I'm going to say, hey, I want all possible records of people that own their home. Okay, it's going to find that starting point address for. So maybe even if you drive by a property and you only have the address and you're trying to find a phone number for it, you could do that. Look up that address, try to find phone numbers and emails that are tied to the property. But the bread and butter here is this map search, where now I can map around it. So again, you want to go down to a very hyper local area. So maybe that entire subdivision. So you know the area in town, right? So you're going to maybe on this side of Blondo over here, just start mapping around. So you have the free form ability to do this and then view our available prospects. So now you can really engage with that specific neighborhood. So yeah, if you have a referral, make sure to mention that referral. If in your outreach, mention the subdivision name, right? So now you can see a combination. Here's the 2,600 homeowners that live in that neighborhood, where we get a combination of their names and addresses, home phones, cell phones, and emails where available, right? And so it's just a great way now.
You're able to really target this stuff. And the other thing you just showed, you're able to look up like the house number, right? So that's basically a single skip trace. And I know a lot of you guys out there are paying like 25 cents for a single skip trace on whatever app it is. You're driving for dollars app. You're paying like 20 cents a skip trace, which is outrageous. You buy this, you're able to pull millions of records and you're able to get single skip tracing too with it. So
Correct. So just think of a database of different ways that you can plug and play with it. And even the idea that you maybe you have your own list of addresses already. So we have this, what we call retriever. And this would be, you have your own list of addresses where you want to, maybe you get them from a different source, but they don't have phone numbers or emails, and you want to do skip tracing on your own. You can upload the list of addresses here into retriever and try to find their cell phones and emails as well. And there's a little bit of a learning curve there because the addresses have to be in the exact format. We have step-by-step instructions that we ask you to follow to make sure you know how to use that as well.
You got to put them in a certain template.
Yep.
But the retriever will literally skip trace a list for you that you got from somewhere else as well.
Yep. So that's all included. So yeah, I don't want to go into, hey, here's the 150 different things you can do using Cole, but I will tell you, it is all about, strategizing as well. And I want to just talk about going back to the basics. So right now, especially during the pandemic and, just kind of the sensitivity of the world that we're in right now, letting people know that you're local is a really big thing as well. So if you live in a community, go engage with those communities, right? And think of different ways where you can introduce yourself to people, a non-intrusive way. So a lot of clients of mine right now, they're maybe going into a specific neighborhood like I showed, and then they're inviting all these folks to some sort of event. And maybe they're just going to say, hey, I'm local. I'm down the street from you. Our office is at 70th and Old Cheney, and I'd love to talk to you about the real estate business right now. But the reason I'm calling is to invite you to this event in the park. We're doing, we're going to be collecting food for the People's City Mission on Sunday from noon to 2 at the local church or the local community center or the local park. We'd love for you to stop by, get to know some of your neighbors, and drop off food. Because then what it allows you to do is get to know people more and then build relationships with them. Ask them questions. By the way, Jacob, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? What do you love about it? Is there anything that you don't like about it? Where are you from originally? Have you thought about moving to be closer? And just having conversations with people. And then when you send an email, you use a subject line and you mention Edenton South subdivision, right? Because that resonates with somebody. 505 Apple Street. We just did a deal at 505 Apple Street. Oh, I live in that neighborhood. 505 Apple Street is by me, right? So it's just overlaying. So I always really teach the importance of getting into a very small list, calling the people you can call, emailing the people you can email, door knock, and just really engaging with the neighborhood as well.
100%.
So those are some of the things that I wanted to really talk about, Jacob. Anything that you think we're missing or thoughts for folks as well?
No, I don't think we're missing much. I kind of just want to give a quick recap. Cole, unlimited data, $795 for the year. You can pull unlimited records for your market. It is normally $995, correct? So I'm getting you guys $200 off. Unlimited records in your market, okay? My favorite list from it is high equity. I pull 15 years plus residence. We showed you how to do that. Confirmed homeowner, 15 years plus residence. I got 55 out of 70 of my deals last year from Cole. It works. It's awesome. And I want to do one thing. For the people that buy Cole and sign up and register this week, by the end of next week, by Friday next week, for the people that sign up for Cole by Friday next week, Tyler will let me know who those people are. And we're going to invite you to a private Zoom call with me and my partner. And we are going to show you exactly what we do with Cole, exactly how to pull it for 45 minutes. We'll jump on a Zoom call with you guys on a private Zoom call and show you exactly how to pull it, how to leverage it, and how it will help you succeed in real estate. So for the people that buy it and register for Cole by Friday next week, we will invite you to a private Zoom call and show you exactly how we use it and how to leverage it for your business.
Awesome. And we have a special landing page set up for you, Jacob, to make sure people get that $200 discount that we mentioned. Again, normally it's $995 a year. A promo code for anybody you refer, it's $200 off. You got to go to this landing page though and fill out this landing page to learn more. And that will allow you to, one of our reps will reach out to you to learn a bit more about your business as well. And again, that is partner.coleinformation.com. So COLE. So partner.coleinformation.com/unlimited. and that is tied to Jacob to your referrals.
Somebody asked, is that only one-time payment or the $120 a month option as well? There is an option for monthly, correct? But you can only pull 2,000 records.
Yeah,
right?
so that's the deal. So this, to get the truly unlimited, you got to go with the $795. We have, for some businesses, only want like a couple hundred records, a couple 1,000 records. We have a month-to-month plan, but that is not unlimited. The issue there is, if we have a month-to-month, people could go in there and download 82 million records and want to cancel. So that's why we do the full year that you gotta buy up front if you want to do the unlimited plan.
So it's $795 yearly to get the fully unlimited.
Yep.
If you already bought Cole through my link, we will also invite you to that private Zoom call. Yes, somebody asked that as well. So if you buy it by Friday, register with Cole by Friday for the $795 for the unlimited by the end of next week. Or if you've already signed up through my link in the past, I will invite you to a private Zoom call to show you how we use it and help you out.
All right. Excellent. Excellent.
Any other questions real quick? And then we'll wrap this up. Anyone got any other questions? Let's see. Nothing else, I don't think. I think we answered it all.
All right. Excellent. I said that's a nice little 25-minute, session. So I appreciate you sharing, like your script, your ideas for success, what you're doing. If you guys if you wanted to just learn more and just talk to one of our inside sales associates, just fill out this web form, partner.coinformation.com/unlimited. And we'd be glad to reach out. So thank you so much, Jacob. Really appreciate it. Tell your father hello for me.
I will.
You guys go out there and keep on crushing it.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.